What's up, Miami Hurricanes fans? Brian Smith here, publisher of All Hurricanes on Fan Nation. Time to talk some Josiah Trader. I had no idea that Josiah was going to commit last night, and I got a phone call, and somebody said, "Did you see?" And I'm like, "See what?" And Trader had made his decision to select the Canes, and the rest is history. He's not a normal kid that wants to do all the fancy stuff, apparently. I didn't think he would be. As it relates to a commitment ceremony, Josiah, pretty basic guy, and good for him. But as it relates to Miami, what does it mean? Short term, long term, recruiting in South Florida, beating Florida State for a kid. That's probably, in my opinion, the other school that was most likely for him if he hadn't selected the University of Miami. There's a lot of things to get into. Then I'm going to have my own, at the very end, I'm going to have my own personal take on just conversations I've had with Josiah, some of the things that I've discussed with him, and just learning about him in general, why I think he's a very important recruit on and off the gridiron. So first off, again, I had no idea that he was committing. I don't think really that many people knew. But he did have an edit made with Miami that he put up. So he made that in the last few days. Sometimes it takes a couple of days to get those together for whatever reason. So he kind of kept it under wraps, and good for him. And it's pretty cool. What does this first thing I want to talk about? What does this do for Miami as a perception standpoint? There's a lot of different orders I could go with this, but this is the one I'm most curious with. In today's world, college football players come from all over, even a roster like Georgia or Miami or Texas, schools and states that have a lot of talent. Half the roster, sometimes more, is from out of state. And you say, well, why is that? It doesn't make any sense to me. And it's something that I've struggled with because when I grew up in the 80s, 90s, and even early 2000s, 60, 70, 80% of the classes for teams like that would be from nearby, even sometimes a lot of them 2-3 hours from home. I mean, like UGA can recruit Atlanta and get 10 kids and they'd be fine. Miami can recruit 10 kids from Dade and they're fine, etc. Well, kids today have changed. They oftentimes want to go away from home. You can blame cell phones. You can blame whatever you want, education, for people to learn more and just want to expand. I don't know all the reasons, but they want to leave. But when you're in a place like Miami, when you've got so much talent in Palm Beach, Broward, and Dade right there around you, you want to minimize that. Obviously, one of the ways you do it is to get a big fish like Trader to commit, and it's cool to go to Miami. There's no way around that. He has a lot of pizzazz with his name because he's been on the scene for a long time and people have known about him. And he's played at Miami Central and now Chaminade Madonna and been a really good player. He's going to help Mario Cristobal, Shannon Dawson, and the entire University of Miami staff just by having his name attached to the commitment list. Not only this year, but in the future too. He's a South Florida guy. That should help them in some way, shape, or form. I don't know if you can put a finite number next to it, like 50% or 20% or whatever, but he is going to help the Canes get other good players from South Florida. 2, one of the questions I get asked about recruits, especially ones that get the football in their hands, how quickly can they make an impact? And I'll go a little further, specifically how. Trader's ability to catch the football is unique because he makes some really awkward catches mundane. The last time I watched him was at Miami's camp, and I just watched him a little bit, and I'd seen him so much I really wasn't focusing on JoJo. But the time before when I saw him, he wasn't even practicing. It was Chaminade Madonna's spring practice. I went over, and he was nursing an injury, so he's just kind of goofing around on the side, throwing the football around with Washington. He's a junior this fall for Chaminade, another kid that's going to be elite. He's already got an A&M offer and a bunch of other schools. So they're throwing it around, but they're catching it with one hand. And JoJo's kind of like half talking to me, like, look at me, catch one hand, talking to, like, no big deal. His ability to catch the football is on another level, and his hand-eye coordination is something I cannot place into finite terms because it's so extraordinary. And he does it routinely. Like, it's insane. So there's going to be a play. I will just go ahead and say this now and make this prediction. As a freshman, there's going to be a ball where either he ran the wrong route or didn't cut it right, or the ball's not right, both, whatever. And it's not going to matter because Trader's still going to catch it either with one hand or like twirling around, doing something that you're going to be like, okay, that's OBJ kind of stuff or whatever. He can do those kinds of things. Now, I'm not saying that's going to be the norm. You still want to catch the ball in front of you. You want to still have rhythm with your quarterback. But adding a few extra plays like that, those galvanizing plays where it should have been an incomplete and maybe a drive ends, when you get a completion on a special play, it can truly put juice into a team, Miami or anybody else, and add. That's one of the reasons he's ranked so high, because he makes special plays. He did it on defense and offense throughout his first few years of high school, and that's not going to change. On that note about defense, excuse me, I expect him at some point to play free safety or corner, even if it's just like in a special situation at the end of the half or something. He's going to play receiver for Miami, but you put him in the end of the game for Hail Marys or something, his hand-eye coordination, he'll be in the – I just about guarantee it. They'll use him in that capacity, and that's fine. Also, when you think about Trader, where's he going to play? Corner, safety, slot, split in, flanker. He could have played any of those, but he wants to play receiver. And most of the time for SFE and for Chaminade, he's just out wide, but he can play in the slot. Once he gains a little more weight, Josiah is 175 pounds, 180 pounds, something like that. It doesn't matter. He'll be about 200 by the time he fills out at the University of Miami. He's probably going to play slot and flanker. The split in / boundary spots, usually for bigger guys. I could see Chance Robinson playing that a little bit more, and I could see a few other guys doing that too. Miami needs a bigger receiver. Chance might be that guy, but when you play because they know each other well, they've grown up together, you can move them around play to play. And defenses don't know what they're getting, even though the same exact 11 players come out onto the field for the Canes, hypothetically. And even if it's just those two and you mix and match some of the other tight ends, running backs, receivers, when you're comfortable with the guys you like going in as a freshman, this is important because timing is so much of the opportunity at wide receiver and a quarterback. You're going to make more plays early in your career. Miami has a pretty good chance of having a good receiving corps this year, but X is probably going to leave. He has a great year, and I would expect the same out of Colby Young. That wide receiver room's going to be pretty young next year. They might bring in a transfer or something, obviously. I mean, you have to at least look at your options. But Trader and or Chance playing a lot and or starting is there. Do they learn the playbook? That's the big question mark. I'm not going to touch that. They have to go in and learn like anybody else. But you add them to the two kids they got in the last class, Robbie Washington, really fast kid out of Palmetto, a Miami kid. Nathaniel Ray Joseph, really fast kid out of Edison. And then all of a sudden, you've got a nice group. It's a good nucleus. It's a good balance. That was the thing I was worried about because I didn't know what Trader was going to do in terms of a timeline, beyond to say that he'd told me probably late in the process. Again, this was a surprise that he made his announcement. So you've got more balance because Robbie can play some flanker and he can play in the slot. Ray is the perfect slot. I mean, he could play flanker, but he's so good at running screens and under routes and short passes and just making people frustrated with trying to tackle a jitterbug in space that I wouldn't overcomplicate it too much. Just get him the football. He'll be a really good punt returner too. But you put those two out there in either Chance or JoJo, and that's your traditional lineup. And if you want to go 4 wide, you got Chance, JoJo, Ray, and Robbie. All of them have one key ingredient: speed. They can stretch you vertically, and they can all catch a screen that's right at the line of scrimmage and take it to the house too. You're bending teams horizontally really more than vertically because you have to depend on all your corners being sound, which in college football doesn't happen a whole lot, to be really honest. Even teams like Georgia and Alabama and Texas A&M and Clemson and Florida State, Miami, it's hard to get consistent corner play with the way these screen games are run, et cetera. And then teams are running go routes, double moves, et cetera. It only takes one of those guys to be off or to just flat out get beat by, let's say, Trader or Chance. Then all of a sudden, a 3rd and 8 is a touchdown. Speed changes the game, especially when you see these teams line receivers up really wide. This combination of players is going to be frustrating. And that's just in these two classes, and it may not be done. I mean, Miami, they could add another receiver. Like after getting Trader, it's pretty cool now. You got him and Chance, two elite receivers from South Florida. If they could get a true 6'3", 200 kid that's got a chance to, fill out, be 220, something like that, I'm sure they would take it. And there's other guys too. I mean, obviously they're recruiting Jeremiah. That's the self-explanatory. I'm not going to dive into that. But even if they don't get him, any other bigger body receiver they get, that kid is going to be single covered the vast majority of his career just with those two guys playing next to him. Again, it's the complements and playing next to each other. And that leads to the final point on this quarterback recruiting. Judd Anderson's committed in 24. They got Emory Williams last year, Jakari Brown the year before. If you're not excited about this group of receivers that's committed to the U, what are you doing? I'm not saying you automatically got to pit Miami, but I mean, it's like, this is not rocket science here, okay? This is a heck of a group, and I would expect most guys to be excited about it because, quite frankly, when you could miss and still make a big play, that's pretty cool. Some of the greatest catches ever because the quarterback screwed up or there was a timing issue or the quarterback got hit when he was throwing. It's just a little off. And one of these, these crazy catches and stuff that, like I said earlier, galvanize a team. Hey, man, it's a big deal. All these guys can make special plays like that. So I think quarterback recruiting is going to be really interesting. I don't know if they'll add another one in this class. I have no idea. But in the 25 class, Carter Smith from Bishop Rowe in Fort Myers, I think he's a pretty good bet. He's a really talented player. There's some other guys. Holy cow. I mean, there's a lot of talent. This is the first time I've said this, Mount. There's a lot of talent in 25 and 26 in the state of Florida at quarterback. It's the first time in my life. This state is not known for quarterbacks, and I mean extremely kind. But it's really good moving forward. The Orlando area in particular has got some kids. You got Smith. It's going to be really interesting to see what Shannon Dawson and his group of coaches on the offensive side can come up with. They may get a kid out of state too, but it's nice to have a local kid. And they're going to know about Trader because they've all played against him or seen him or something at 7-on-7 or in a high school game, etc. So that's important. Final point I want to make. JoJo Trader, from just my own perspective, he's a kid that I've seen like numerous times. He has a chip on his shoulder. He's a real easygoing guy, like before and after. Like during the game, you say something like during, he kind of blocks things out, which is cool. He is ultra focused when it's time to be ultra focused. And that's an edge that I think receivers and DBs tend to have in today's game. I don't know where that started, but you see it. It's really difficult to be good in sport today unless you're a focused guy. But like, you're out there on an island, it's important to another level because the DB is trying to embarrass you and vice versa and put it on camera. JoJo doesn't get put on a lot of other people's cameras. I mean, nobody's perfect, and you're going to get beat every now and then. That's cool. But I will guarantee you that he's going to win his fair share of battles, even as a freshman. And I think, again, it depends on who turns pro and how the portal and all that works out. There's a good chance he could start right away at Miami because he will be dedicated. And primarily the biggest thing holding him back from playing right away is just like every other freshman, regardless of position. That's a playbook. They'll find a way, even if he's not ready. And I don't know how big the playbook's going to be or what they're going to try to do in year 2 under Dawson. Again, this is a year down the road. But they're going to find a way to get him in the mold of a guy that can at least play 20, 30 snaps right away. And as he learns the playbook and he does things differently and he understands the gap between I know this and how much I can play, like once he really sees that, he's going to dig into that. He's a motivated kid. I have no doubts. Chance Robinson, too. Don't sleep on Chance Robinson. He is really, really good. And again, putting them together, if they can both learn the playbook, it can get Miami in a position to where they're making plays early in their career, kind of get the speed thing going, the deep ball. Miami can be really exciting on offense. So I think that JoJo is going to be dynamic, though, in ways that just make him kind of unique, even to Miami. Miami's receiver history is ridiculous, obviously. Reggie Wayne, Michael Irvin, etc. But I'm telling you, this kid's going to make special plays from the time he gets to Miami until the time he leaves, and most likely goes to the NFL. Really like his upside. He's a kid that's motivated, and I just enjoy watching him play. Kids like Trader are why you get in the industry I'm in, and you travel and you do all the crazy hours that I do. Having those conversations with him off the record, talking about things, what's going on, who's this player, and all that. Like when I want to ask about somebody that's at a tournament or something, I'll ask JoJo. He does not shed a tear. He will tell you to the T, good, bad, and different. He does not care. This is why. Those are the kinds of things that are important, and it kind of shows his character. So, again, big pickup for the Miami Hurricanes with Chance Robinson and JoJo Trader now being committed in the class of 24. Miami's recruiting stock goes up in general, and the wide receiver group 1-2 is good as it gets. So, this is a big day for Miami Hurricanes, and I think that it's going to kind of signal a change a little bit in South Florida recruiting. So please like this podcast. Please share it and hit that notification bell if you would, and comment. What do you think about JoJo Trader? Have you seen Chance Robinson? What do you think's next for Miami? Whatever it is, please comment, and let's talk some Hurricanes football. Everybody have a great day.